Hello, welcome to the SemiWoke podcast. I'm Pranav.
I'm Sharia.
And this is a special podcast where once a week Sharia brainwashes me with one woke concept in an effort to...
Well, okay, so it was initially to turn you gay, but now you have to be burned in a fire and then not die.
The goalposts keep shifting with you.
Yes, no, because...
I had just gotten used to being gay, and I was like, okay, this is my life now, or it's going to be.
Here's what happened. Trey didn't like the session. So he set you alive. He set you on fire, but you ain't died. You crystallized into a glitter chicken. That is a shout out. That is a reference. That's a Drag Race reference.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
That's
so out of my depth. I like how you combined multiple different kinds of fan fiction around me and then this other person.
Yes. Yes.
It's like amazing queer lore that you're dropping on people.
The real Drag Race fans know what I'm talking about.
Okay, well, let's hope that we're reaching them.
Yes, shout outs to Kennedy Davenport.
Yeah, today we have a very special guest.
Yes.
Hey. Well, first of all, SemiWoke, this is the first queer and straight collaboration since...
This is the first queer straight collaboration.
The only time in history a queer person and a straight person
have ever gotten together to do anything since Luther Vandross and Anita Baker went on tour. And we all know how that ended, huh? That's for our 65-year-old black.
Yeah, okay. So how did that end?
Oh, they fought. They fought backstage. They both argued.
Is Anita Baker queer?
No.
Luther is.
I was going to say, yeah.
Okay.
Luther's gay.
So what was it? She was mad he wouldn't give up the dick?
That was what it was. That was what it was. That was always Luther's problem.
It obviously is.
No. They it just seems like some ego shit. You know what I mean? Anita Baker wanted to headline. Luther wanted to headline.
Never too much.
Never too much. But here's the thing. Anita Baker used to, one time she sang a few of Luther's songs before he got on stage. Oh. So he couldn't, she sang Wait for Love, right? And that was
that's fucked up.
His closing number, and he had it was right before
that is so fucked up.
So after that, he was like, I'm done with you, bitch.
That'd be like if you and I went on a show, and I did a bit about having long titties.
Exactly, if you did my long titty joke before motherfucker.
It's like, I want to do a show with you just so I can do that. And you could do Prawn Farm. You can do my name joke
or your booty hole joke.
Yeah,
my joke.
Yeah. Like we can do each other's signature bits. Yeah. It'll actually be kind of a novel show to do your friends' sets
and watch you say the word nigga all the time. Like,
oh my god, I can't wait! So I finally get the pass that I never really wanted.
I love it. Let's tape it.
I give myself the N-word pass, but only in my car.
I actually have one. I mean, I've got Tourette's. So
okay, that's right. So guys, we are joined right now by an extremely funny comic, Benny Feldman. Okay, and Benny brings up an interesting point. I'm going to talk Benny right now. Here's how I first met Benny Feldman. Okay. I was at a show. It was Dan Wix's Pop Collar comedy show. This is basically about a year ago, I think, now. And I got to the show late, and almost as soon as I get there, I go up to do my set, and I'm having a great set. I am fucking cooking. All my bits are hitting. People are loving me. And then I'm like, let me end on my piece de resistance, my favorite little edgelordy joke that I've been working on, which is a joke about I've never seen a non-white person with Tourette's. That is the bit. Yeah. And I'm going into this joke, and this joke had been killing, and I am just so proud. I'm like, ooh, look at me. I'm the Indian Patrice O'Neill. Look at me, I'm just so feeling myself until I'm doing this bit. And everybody just goes fucking dead silent in the audience. And you have to, I was really cooking. People were fucking laughing, rolling laughs, and then it's skirt. Yeah. Dead silence. And I'm like, what the fuck's going on? I'm like, okay, yeah, it's Bushwick, but, So I'm going, and I'm just like trying, and I'm like, okay, I don't know what's going on. You guys are clearly a bunch of losers. Then I get off stage, and Dan Wicks comes up to me. He goes, hey, man, just so you know, comedian Benny Feldman, it was on the show, and he has Tourette. And I was like, shit, I'd never heard of Benny before. I didn't know who this was. And I'm like, oh, fuck. And so I'm like, okay, I'm going back, and I'm walking back, and this black guy taps me on the shoulder. And he's like, hey, man, what's up? How you doing? And he starts talking to me about my set, and I assumed that the black guy was Benny Feldman. And I was like, fuck! Not only did I make a bad Tourette's joke, but my theory was not true. There was a black man with Tourette's right now, totally debunking me, and I'm like, fuck. And he's just talking to me about where I'm from because I had another joke about growing up in Pennsylvania. And then I'm like, okay, that was weird. I didn't know. And then Benny comes up to me. He had a very bushy and very fetching mustache at the time.
I'm growing it back.
Yeah, you got to bring that back. I mean, you look great now. And he's like, hey, I'm Benny Feldman. I don't know if you said I am the comic with Tourette's. I don't think you said that, but you were like,
I have Tourette's.
Maybe something like that. And then I was just like, fuck, you know? I was just like, fuck. Because you make jokes as a comedian, and sometimes they're whatever, right? That you say things, right? And sometimes you're like, oh, you know, or war orphans or whatever aren't here. Saddam Hussein isn't here, whatever it is. Not that you're Saddam Hussein. It's not a good look to compare Benny to Saddam Hussein. You know what I'm saying? But it's like... It's like you're talking and you never do. And I was like, fuck. It was the most cringeworthy I've ever felt. And since then, I retired the joke.
Thank you, Jesus.
Huh?
I appreciate you retiring it.
I retired the joke because I just didn't feel good about it. Because my thing is like, okay, maybe I'm kind of a dumbass and maybe I can be a little edgelordy, but as I've discussed with Sharia, I don't really want people's feelings to be hurt. Yeah. That's not what I'm about. Yeah. Do I like to be transgressive and all that? Yeah, sure. But it's not my
goal.
It's not my goal, you know, to hurt people's feelings.
I want to hear Benny's version of the story.
Oh, sure. Yeah, okay. So I did my set. I have Tourette's. Yeah. It's not the core part of my set, though. You know what I mean? It's not like the whole set isn't about having Tourette's. I like mostly do one-liner jokes about like bugs and stuff.
Yeah, very funny.
But I do have Tourette's. I appreciate that. And I liked your set until you started doing the
I
Tourette's.
know. It was like, I hadn't seen your set, Benny, so I actually didn't know who you were. And so I was just like, I don't even know, because you were new to the city at the time.
Yes.
And then I started seeing your bits. I'm like, this guy's a fucking killer, too. I was like, God damn it.
Appreciate that.
The last thing I want is I was like, if he was a hacky comic, I might have been.
You might have kept the
I might have just been like, whatever. But I'm like, God, this guy's fucking funny, and I would like to be actually friends with this guy. I was like, this is not cool. Sorry, continue.
Oh, yeah. So, I mean, I just remember, like, you clearly had not seen my act because you just like started saying like people with Tourette's are faking it and stuff like that.
That was not the bit.
Was that not the bit?
That bit was if you want. It's not that they're faking it at all.
No, it's something I forget what it was.
Do you want me to bring some of the lines back?
Please.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Some of the lines were, I've never seen a non-white person with Tourette's. Mm-hmm. It's always a 12-year-old white girl at Target shouting the N-word at their grandmother. They have a doctor's note for the N-word. That was one of the punchlines. And another one was, they never shout anything nice, like I love Puerto Ricans, right?
I guess so. So the implication of I've only seen white people with Tourette's implies that maybe the white people are faking it.
Right, wasn't that? It was for me. It was just that because the bit ends by saying it's a white disease,
or you're saying that white people are genetically inferior.
That too.
I mean, that was
that's the implication.
The original version of the joke was that Tourette's only emerged after the civil rights movement took place, so it became like an out for white people to say the N-word.
We said we should put down all people with Tourette's like dogs.
That was in an early version of the joke.
You did an act out where you bullet.
That's funny.
It's actually sorry.
So you stayed for Pranav's set and you started into the joke and you were like, what?
I think I've seen people do edgy material before. I've seen people have edgy material about Tourette's even. And so I totally thought of it as like a chance to go, hey man, I have Tourette's, like, and like kind of not to like embarrass you. I don't want to like publicly say something, but definitely like to one-on-one be like, hey, just a heads up, this is why that bit tanked. You know what I mean? And I think kind of the opposite thing, kind of the trade I made with you is kind of like, imagine if you had just done your set, I got there late and did my whole act, making fun of Indian people.
I know. Yeah. I know. The irony being that Indians be saying shit against their own will sometimes too, you know? So, and I DM'd Benny the next day because it stuck with me, right? It did stick with me because it's like, again, I don't want to be a douchebag, you know? And sometimes it's against my better judgment than I am. So I DM'd him. I was like, hey, man, I really hope I didn't offend you. And I was wondering if we could talk about the bit. And one thing that stood out to me about what Benny said was that he's like, no, I wasn't offended at all. He's like, I did dissociate a bit, though, when you started the bit. And then I was just like, fuck.
So So you weren't offended. You were just tired. Like you were just like
more
enough.
like all right, yeah.
Okay. Okay. Wow.
I think it's more of an education thing. Like people.
Yes.
I don't know. There's actually a famous movie about a teacher in India who like had Tourette's, and like it's like non-white people do have Tourette's.
I know.
So
it's 100% they do it. Because previous times of doing that joke, like a black woman came up to me once and she was like, oh, that was really funny. But by the way, I actually have Tourette's. And I was like, you keep that to yourself, okay? It's like, I am the Indian Patrice O'Neill and you keep that shit to yourself.
We do not need an Indian Patrice O'Neill. We
already have a few, but
we have.
we don't have to name names.
What's that?
It's my community.
What's that? We have Modi. We don't need an Indian Patrice O'Neill.
Wim Modi?
We have Modi.
Oh, the Prime Minister.
Prime Minister.
We don't have to get into.
Fuck you. That was hilarious. And
I wish he had some comedic game like Patrice level. But it was like a weird for me. And here's the thing about it, dude, is that I at least once a week I think about that experience and I fucking cringe to myself. I really do, because I'm just like, fuck, man.
Yeah.
Like, why you got to do that? I don't know about
you.
You
Got teed up perfectly for it.
I really
just
did.
Getting late and it was like
it was an almost cinematic experience of having a great set and then having it out of nowhere tank and not understanding why, because I'd gotten to the show late. I hadn't seen Benny perform.
Yeah.
And then somebody being like, actually, here's why.
Okay.
Haha, you're a douchebag.
Yeah.
Do
you ever feel like you don't want to educate people about shit? You ever feel like that?
I mean, it's not. My act isn't educational.
No, I mean like when people do shit like that. Do you ever? Because you said you've seen other comics make jokes about people with Tourette's. And stuff like that.
I don't want to go like I don't want to necessarily have to go to my way to like go up to people like regularly and be like, hello. Here's information. But it's like
here's a pamphlet.
Exactly. But just like being a person and like doing my act and like kind of just like generally raising awareness.
Okay.
Passively.
Yeah.
I don't have to do any work.
Yeah.
How long have you been doing comedy?
Like 7 years.
7 years. Oh, dope. Well, why'd you start? Mental illness. No, other than mental illness. Yeah.
I really like jokes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm obsessed with jokes.
Yeah. Like one-liners though. You like who do you like?
I like Mitch Hedberg.
I was just
about to
exactly.
Say.
Yeah. Okay.
Benny told what is probably one of my now favorite jokes ever this weekend at the set stand when I saw. I don't know if I can tell the joke.
Totally. Are you my permission?
Okay, it's the joke about gaydar. Can you actually tell it? It's really I shit myself almost dying.
Okay. Well, it's really teed up now. So
sorry, guys. Sorry. Never mind. It's a very funny joke.
We're gonna do a drum roll right before the punchline.
So I have really good gaydar, but the trouble is, whenever it locks on, at the top of my vision in glowing red appears the word annihilate.
No. Oh, see,
Do you understand why I like it, Sharia? JK. That to me, I was just like that. I told my girlfriend that joke, and she just started dying laughing too, because it was like that's, and she doesn't laugh at stand-up comedy bits either, you know. So I like died hearing that joke, but that's a funny joke. It's offensive. It's not even offensive though. It's like because you know why? It's like very.
Well, I'm not like actually doing violence against gay people.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Exactly.
It's like the joke is like as if I've been programmed to target them. You know what I mean? It's it's meant to be from like.
It's
like
more about radars.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Like the concept of radars.
It's more. It's like
else.
you kind of are supposed to like imagine sort of like a HUD or like a Predator type like robot Terminator vision thing. Yeah.
I also think it's a good play on the concept of gaydar.
Exactly.
I think it's a really I think it's a good
you know what I noticed? You were killing that whole set, and people tightened up on that
Of
joke.
course, yeah.
People really tightened.
It's
And
not the
that was
time
where
for
I
this
like
joke.
I like lost my mind, and I was like, God, why am I the only one? But then I realized it's like
time for this joke.
Huh?
It's not a great time because there are a few people who genuinely have gaydar and it says annihilate on it.
Exactly. Yeah.
And they're senators.
And so it's like, for sure. It's like I'm trying to like make fun of that type of person.
Yes.
A little bit, you know what I mean? But in this trick, somebody did get mad at me online. They were like, "Are you advocating for violence against like gay people?" And I was like, "Yes, of course."
How much clearer could it get?
Yeah. I literally have No, but I have a so when you do captions for videos, that's a fun one because then I can for the word annihilate, I like make it big and red at the top. That's fun. But I just wanted to do interesting things with clip captions. I don't know.
Yeah, we're in like the era now where comedians have to be editors too. I'm trying to learn Premiere right now.
You fuckers gonna chop this up, cut to me, cut to you, cut the camera angle, all that shit.
Yes, that's what we have to do.
I'm trying. I'm not good at it.
He's trying. I'm not even trying. I'm just crying about it. I'm just sad.
And Sam just wants to overcharge us for that kind of thing. So we're like, never mind,
fair.
Yeah.
Okay. So you've been in the game for 7 years, and you've been. Where did you start?
Philadelphia.
In Philly. Okay.
Yeah.
You from Philly?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Where are you from?
I'm from here. I'm from Brooklyn.
Really?
Fuck,
cool.
You asking me where I'm from? Like you want to see my papers? No, I'm from here. I'm from inside.
Did you not hear her accent?
I don't know.
I feel like Brooklyn is written across my forehead sometimes, so I'm always shocked when people are like, "Where you from?" Yeah, I'm from here.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah. You're probably gentrifying my neighborhood.
Yes, Benny lives like 4 or 5 blocks away from
here.
here.
Yeah.
I knew it.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, you're outnumbered.
And you came here on CP time, so
That's like 5 minutes. Okay, CP time is like 15 minutes and over.
You're right.
Yeah.
And you're not allowed to repeat that, but you are correct.
Why?
I don't know.
I can repeat CP time. Listen, every race is like, oh, we're always Cambodians, we're always late. You know what I mean? Like every race.
Yes.
You know us Swedes, we're never on time. You know that, or like an exit, like, hey, we all know that was a Sri Lankan goodbye, right?
But the thing is, people are talking about this on TikTok, where all good conversations happen, and they're talking about how like time itself is a white supremacist concept, and like the whole thing of being on time, like you just supposed to like it's like a capitalist white supremacist concept.
There is a capitalistic element.
Yes, for
also,
sure.
I will agree.
I was ready to be here on time, and then you pushed it back 30 minutes.
Exactly.
So hold on now.
We imposed CP
I'm 5
time
minutes
on
late.
Benny.
You guys are 30 minutes late.
We imposed CP time on Benny, which is actually strangely, maybe it's actually Jewish time because it was Sam's
fault.
who was like, I'm going to be a half an hour late. Eat it. Because he's the Wizard of Oz. Betty, you told me that you had developed Tourette's after that you might want to talk about this.
Oh, sure,
after
psychedelics.
Because I had only heard part of what I wanted to hear because I heard Benny say something about psychedelics. And then when we were DMing, I was like, hey, I heard you like psychedelics. Let's fucking hang, dude. And he was like, no. I do not like psychedelics.
Oh my God.
I actually did like them.
Okay,
so it's like I'm considering if I would do them again at some point, but it's like it would possibly be high risk.
What happened? Can you give us the?
I had a milder form of Tourette's. Actually, kind of like what I'm doing currently is like kind of what it was at its like peak ever. So when I'm calmer, it's more like this kind of thing.
Yeah.
But growing up, I had like kind of just like light head shake type stuff.
Yeah.
And like some humming type stuff and swallowing. But then when I was 21, I did acid and shrooms in the same week. And then like that like which was great, a lot of fun.
I've done the same thing
maybe
too.
recommend, folks.
Yeah.
Depends on your personal history. Maybe they need to study it more. But they both do different things with serotonin.
Yeah.
And Tourette's, they think, is a serotonin imbalance in certain parts of the brain. So you know how like if you're predisposed to schizophrenia or things like that, it can amplify it. I think I'm also predisposed to that, so I had intense paranoia for like a few months. So it wasn't. So the thing is, it's hard to tell exactly because it wasn't like that week and then like immediately having like significant increase in Tourette's. There's like a few month period where I had kind of intense paranoia and like auditory hallucinations.
Right.
I was hearing this like it's kind of crazy. Not like voices speaking, but like a voice going like it's kind of like making this noise. Yeah. It's kind of freaky.
It was telling you. It was giving you fire bits that you can just fucking.
For months, you were having this.
I would say I had. I'd say I had like the versions of increase like definitely heightened anxiety for like 8 months, but like paranoia for like I had like a couple like specific like psychotic breaks where I like barricaded my door and thought people trying to kill me, but that would especially be amplified when I would smoke weed again.
Wow.
But I heard this. There was like this noise that was like, "Ugh," in my brain for
Kill
like,
gays, annihilate the gays.
annihilate.
It's just Rumstein in your head. It's just your neighbor. Did you go to the hospital or anything?
No, because I wasn't I wasn't sure what exactly was happening. It was sort of like it did like that noise was only, it was short lived, that part. So it had a very clear like spike, and then it faded out. But as the like paranoia and like the auditory stuff faded out, like the tics started to fade in.
Okay.
And so I started like, I remember being on I remember like having these like weird back shakes, and I was like, I wonder what that is. And then I didn't like think about it much. I thought maybe I like sat wrong or something. But then I was on my friend's porch, we're just chilling like July 4th or something. And I like had one, and my friend was like, what the fuck was that? I was like, oh, I don't know. And then it like kept happening and increasing and stuff like that. And I went to see a doctor, and I was like shaking, and I thought maybe I was like having like partial seizures or something. I was like kind of freaking out. I remember staring at like, I was in a cubicle holding like a pencil for a while and just like going like that. I was like, what the fuck? I didn't like do that.
Wow, yeah.
And then I went to the doctor. They were like, oh, this might be Tourette's. And I was like, oh, interesting. And then, but by the time I went to see a neurologist, I'd already started doing a lot more, they call them vocal tics when you do, not just, so the cursing is called coprolalia, but any sort of vocal tic, like, or like any of the noises I make.
Right.
Yeah.
And then motor tics of the body.
Yes.
But by the time I saw the neurologist, I had actually even started cursing, and it's like, oh, this is very obviously like the media interpretation of Tourette's. So.
Okay.
Right. And that was like in your 2020s.
That's 21.
Yeah, I was 21.
21.
Yep. 21 to 22 because it was like an 8-month.
Oh my God. Were you in school at the time?
Yeah.
Jesus.
And did you have to like tell your parents like, actually I did acid and shrooms, and did they get pissed off?
Well, I guess I don't think No, I didn't tell them I did psychedelics until I was financially independent and out of school.
Wow.
And at that point, it's
Smart.
like, what are they gonna do?
Yeah.
Wait, why were you afraid they'd kick you off the health insurance or something?
Or like stop, like not help with
Are they
like,
very
college or something.
conservative?
No, but even they're like generically liberal, but they're not. Some people aren't like pro psychedelic.
Yes, no, they're not cool.
Yeah.
They're just not cool.
But they ended up being cool about it. They were cool.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
But yeah.
But so you said you were having like small minor tics when you were a kid, like growing up.
Yeah, and so they were the ones that were like yeah, you've had a version of this, like we've seen this, you know what I mean?
But you weren't formally diagnosed until that happened.
Because there's no reason, like it didn't freak, like I definitely had like this kind of thing, or like or like swallowing, the humming thing. But I don't know, I just thought I just liked doing that. I don't know, it was like hard to say.
Exactly. Yeah.
But now it's like now I've got a bunch of them.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's pretty fun.
Well, the other day when we were hanging out at the stand, Benny said like fuck shit, and it was at the exact perfect moment of like, it was like exclamatory, and I was like, that didn't feel like it. I was like, that's actually the appropriate thing to say right now. And I was like, that's pretty good.
How many times have you wanted to whoop this motherfucker's ass?
I mean,
you offered him shrooms.
I did. That was bad. I was like, come on, man. Well, let's get fucked up or something.
So funny. Oh
No,
my
I
God.
do hear that. If I say like fuck or shit, like that often is like well timed. Also, I don't want to say that Tourette's is always a positive experience. A lot of people have much more. Like some people hurt themselves or like have a hard time getting steady jobs because they have like some people. I'm lucky where the most I hurt myself is like my neck, but I also rarely do slurs. So it's like
today you brought them though.
I brought them. I got them ready.
Today.
Is it something? Do you know when slurs might be coming on?
There is definitely like there's totally levels to you. Not everybody with Tourette's has the thing called the premonition, where like, you can like feel it coming. But I do have that. And if it's a bigger one, I'm like, all right, that's gonna be like a fucking bitch, or it's gonna be the F slur for queer people.
Yeah,
right.
That's my most common slur.
That's your most common slur?
Yeah, that's rare.
All right, well, sometimes you could just be like at a drag show and it's fine. You're like, yes, F word.
Yeah, I mean, if I just lean into it and pretend like I'm allowed to say it,
exactly, it's fine. I think you can make it work. Wow, you're so chill about it, and that whole story was deeply like, whoa, that's intense. That's a lot of shit to happen to a 21-year-old, anyone.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I appreciate that. I've definitely made. I don't know if I never had to make too much peace with it. I made the making peace was with the paranoia and like auditory hallucination part, because when I thought that was going to be permanent, that was like the really big thing where it's like, all right, my mind is like, I'm going to have to kind of like duel my own mind now.
Right, yeah.
So when it turned out to just be more externalized like tics and stuff, I think that was kind of a relief.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, okay. Yeah. You're like, all right, I could do this. There was a Degrassi episode about this. I can handle this. That's much better than the other thing. That's terrifying. Yeah,
sure.
no. That's one of my like greatest fears. I was always afraid of that. Like that I didn't do acid until like my 30s because
right,
really?
right. Because if you do it when you're younger, is that something
Yeah.
you're more like? Yeah.
Yeah, well, no, I didn't do acid until I was like 28, but still.
Well,
like,
apparently, like weed, acid, things like
Yeah.
that. If people are already showing indications of schizophrenia, it will exacerbate
activate
it
it,
without any
Yes.
like it's so it's an actually risky thing to do.
Yeah, no.
Do you do substances? Do you fuck around? Do you smoke weed
I
or
smoke
drink?
weed. Yeah. Yes.
You smoke weed?
Yeah.
Yeah. You drink?
Once in a while.
Yeah.
I like weed more. Yeah.
And do you feel like it does anything to your tics? Do you feel like it makes it less or more, or depends, or?
You know, I think part of it. People always ask me that, and I think part of it is I get high, and then I don't think to like monitor it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think it makes it less.
Okay.
I think it's like, well, part of it's like my Tourette's is more chill when I'm chill.
Yeah.
I think drinking increases it.
Wow.
Because of the thing I was saying with the,
Frontal lobe.
well, it's like, yeah, it's also like, you know, like the premonition thing I was saying before. I can stop having Tourette's. Like I can hold it in. But that like mental effort to like go that, you know, it's like drinking lowers your inhibitions or whatever. So it's like, if I'm not thinking about holding it, I'll just start having them. You know what I mean?
That makes sense. That totally makes sense. Yeah.
Have you seen other people, edgelordy? Have you had any other encounters like the one that we had?
Not in person and as direct, like me on stage and then them on stage.
And then,
But
No, you're the worst.
I am the one. Listen, you know what? Like, obviously, here's the thing
actually,
about
I take it back. I have. But I'll let you. Well, you say your thing first, and then I'll.
Well, it's like, you know, here's the thing is if I had known Benny was there, there's no way I would have done the bit. And that tells you something about the bit then, right?
Exactly, yeah.
Like if you can't do it there
Yes.
comfortably, then maybe it ain't the thing.
Yeah.
You
If
know
you
what I
can't do
mean?
a joke with being like, okay, first before I do this, are there any Chinese people here?
Right,
like,
exactly.
like, then you shouldn't be doing it.
I used to actually have a bit where I'd be like, any Dominicans here? And if somebody's like, yeah, I'd be like, never mind then.
That's funny. That's funny.
But like, so I wouldn't have done it if he had been there. So for me, and I'd be like, it was a learning experience because whatever, right? Like that's, it was like, it's telling, it was a good moment to examine something within myself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And try to, because I have bits where race is involved, right? There's all kinds of stuff is involved.
Yeah.
And they are, you would say that they're kind of edgy jokes, but I've told them in front of black people, for instance, and they'll laugh and they're in on it with me, right? And so it's a good way of being able to tell, right? There's the concept punching up or punching down or whatever. And I don't want to say the Tourette joke is necessarily punching down because I don't know if that's to say down, right?
I would say it is.
I don't know.
I would say disabled people are systemically put at a lower status.
Yes.
Right.
So
Literally
it's punching
oppressed.
down for sure.
Yes.
we had an episode about this because I used to say the R word a lot,
yes.
right?
Oh, sure. Yeah.
And that was a thing, but
Yeah. I keep saying I'm going to make him gay, but actually we're just going to not make you ableist.
I am not ableist. Stop it. I'm not ableist, okay? I'm a learning human being like everyone else. I'm a work in progress.
Yes.
Okay? But I'm not like, okay. But
Would you
listen,
hire a disabled person or would you force them to, like, because a lot of it, would you hire a disabled person?
would I ever be in a position to hire
There you go.
anybody?
Okay, fair enough.
You know? That's the real question. In what capacity do you see me hiring somebody? You know?
This guy.
I just Sam, yeah. You know?
No, like,
Sam's you know, Sam is cursed with a big badonk.
With his big fat ass.
You know, he's all caked up. He's like a centaur.
It gives him special parking privileges.
But yes, of course I would.
Yeah,
of course I would. But listen, everybody in the abstract, if you ask them a question, like, would you be in a position to be non-discriminatory? They're like, yeah, of course.
Yes.
Oh, would I be a good guy? Of course I would. Nobody's going to be like, no, I would do the wrong thing. So there's really no telling, right?
Yes,
I mean, I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I'm some saintly human being or
yeah.
whatever, right?
No,
so
I'm kidding. I also think like it's important to have. It's not necessarily because disabled people are so pressed, but it's also because disabled rights movement was like the forefront of a lot of like political movements, political action, like Judy Heumann and like that you know that big what's that big sit-in? Oh, I just did the thing where I'm like, Rosa Parks, is that who it is? What's that big sit-in that Judy Heumann organized? The one that got the Disability Rights Act passed? Oh. That big thing? It was big. Oh shit! See, this is the other thing we don't do research on this podcast.
I mean, you do. I don't know why you were looking at me. I'm the edgelordy shitty one. Like I'm gonna know who Judy Heumann is.
You're very you read.
I do. I'm fairly well read. It's true. I do. I know my history.
You be reading. But like that movement, that sit-in, was like such a powerful moment of like political solidarity that like kind of sparked a lot of other movements, and we don't ever give the disability rights movement like enough credit for that, and I think that's part of us trying to like put disabled people out of our minds.
I wonder if part of it is that like if you have like the Black rights movement, the collective identity is much more clear, whereas like the disabled movement is inherently like intersectional along the lines of different types of disabilities.
Yes.
So it's harder to, it's like a inherently diverse coalition. I don't know. It's interesting.
Yes, well, that should make it more like that.
Are you active? Are you active in that community? Would you say? Or?
I would say that I'm trying to be a public figure who represents Tourette's positively.
Yeah.
But I'm not like going to marches.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I love your comedy because, like you said, it's not really about it.
I support it. Sorry, what?
I love your comedy because it's not necessarily about having Tourette's, although you have a couple jokes which are really funny about Tourette's, like about tics and stuff. But your jokes are just really funny and innovative. And I'm personally a believer, and there's two different kinds of advocacy for groups of people. And I say this as an Indian comic. Like, I don't do a lot of jokes about, like, I'm Indian and da-da-da. But I am funny and I am Indian.
Yes.
And thus that gives a certain visibility.
Yes.
And helps to kind of usher in whatever.
Right? Yeah.
Existing visibly, especially on stage, especially on the internet, that in itself is a political act. Like,
yes,
exactly. Unfortunately.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Which I think is great. I mean, if there was some specific like march or movement that I like felt was appropriate, I would like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm on the Tourette's subreddit. I'm promoting stuff or whatever. But I'm reading about it. I'm on the Wikipedia.
Yes.
You know, but yeah. Wait, actually, I remember I was circling back with you asked if I had another experience.
Yes.
I was
Sorry.
actually
on top of shit.
I conflated it, your act with another guy. When I had said like the bit about faking it.
Okay.
I did a mic one time.
Was he Indian? That'd be fucked up.
Wow. So you're actually a racist. The tables will have turned.
Yeah. I don't think so. I think he was black, but I'm not 100% sure. Yeah, it's been a while, so I don't remember exactly. But he went right before me at an open mic, and like people know me in the scene. And his act was like, people with Tourette's are faking it. That's like a fake disability. Like, fuck that. I forget. He had some other jokes though, but in that instance, because I went on right after him. I just like tore into him.
Yes.
I was like, fuck that guy.
Yes.
Like, I don't know.
What did you say to him?
What'd
Do you
you
remember?
say? What'd you say?
I don't remember. It's been a while, but it was just kind of like.
It was a read. You read him down. Yeah.
Yeah, because he said something else, and forget what it was entirely. Yeah. But I did get his ass.
Okay, good.
Yeah,
it's like, how about what the fuck are you talking about with that? I don't know.
Yeah.
I didn't say it was fake. In defense of my bit, mine is like a fully fledged bit. In the end, I did accent, Italian, French.
It was,
you know, I don't do it anymore. But it was on its own merit. It was a solid bit.
Yes.
but I don't do it anymore.
Yeah.
You know, because why? I don't like it. Because here's the other thing about that bit, is that it was telling because sometimes as a comedian, sometimes your instinct, especially if you are doing something that could be kind of controversial, is like, well, not if everybody likes something, it's maybe a sign that it's not great, right? And if everybody hates something. But so if you get mixed reactions, sometimes your instinct is like, oh, well, that's the sign that there maybe is something. And so that's why I kept doing it, because sometimes, though, people wouldn't respond well to the bit.
Yeah.
Right? Some people wouldn't. And I would have to have a very specific...
Sure.
I would have to have a very specific kind of momentum in my set for that bit to do well. And so it's not like the bit had been... The only reason I did that bit that night...
Because you had the momentum?
It was because I had I was really crushing, and I was like, these people are eating up everything that I said. Yeah. But it's like, at the end of that, and after I found out Benny was there, I was like, wow, I am a fucking 1980s villain, from like an 80s movie. You know what I mean? Like, I might as well have a sweater tied around my shoulders and I was like that. So who wants to be that, right?
Yeah. Can I ask? Wait, sorry. So did you start comedy after you were diagnosed?
No, I started before. But I guess so I started doing stand-up 7 years ago, but I started doing comedy, improv and stuff. I did maybe 10 years ago.
Oh, we're an improv bitch. Okay, I wasn't giving that vibe. It wasn't giving that. Okay.
I stopped doing it after college.
Oh, okay.
But, yeah, so I only do stand-up now.
You were like,
he's like, I grew up. I grew up.
I finished it. Yeah,
that's right.
I really loved improv, and I feel like I took a lot lot from it too.
I bet you got a lot of pussy in improv. Like, you're straight, right? Yeah. I bet you got a lot of pussy in improv.
That's kind of you.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Really?
But
that to me is so counterintuitive to me.
The improv people are fucking like monkeys. Every single, I'm telling you.
Okay.
It's true. It's true.
Those are like the poly people who are all like 2s and 4s.
That's improv. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah.
Well, part of it is maybe if that was there, I'm much more personally I mostly only enjoy sex with somebody I really love.
Oh,
you know what I mean? So it's sure, once in a while I'm open to the other stuff, but I'm really not looking for it necessarily.
Do you identify as demisexual at all?
Is that what that means? Is that what that is?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Is that what that is?
Yeah. Yeah, it's like the sexual attraction doesn't, or oh god, don't let me speak for the demisexuals, but
oh, they're gonna come for you.
Yeah, I know they will.
Actually, or they won't because they don't love you. But yeah, sorry. I'm back, baby.
No,
that was actually a fire joke.
No, we'll see in the comments.
Yeah.
But that's what it is. You don't form a sexual attraction until you fall in love with the person.
Oh, I see that. Yeah, no, I would say not necessarily. I would say I'm still sexually attracted. It's just that I find actually having sex deeply hollow and boring and temporary with somebody. So maybe partially. Yeah. I'd say I'm semi-demisexual.
Yeah.
Semi-demi.
Semi-demi. Yeah. I also might be wrong. So you
sure.
Yeah.
But I see that. Yeah. It's interesting.
If Benny needs to have 3 or 4 dates where they've eaten bugs together, to a candlelit bug dinner. Right. Yeah. You like eating bugs. Yeah. You're like a bug eater.
I think I have. Okay, I've never seen you on the internet. Is that what it is? Okay, yeah. Also, eating bugs, whatever. Not eating bugs is actually capitalist.
Okay, everything's capitalist with you. We're gonna have an episode where everything is capitalist reductio. Capitalism ad absurdio is gonna be the name of it. Reductio ad capitalismo.
I can blame anything on capitalism.
You really can.
It's my favorite hobby.
It really is.
It's my favorite thing to do.
No, I mean I fully agree.
Thank you.
I'm a deeply anti-capitalist person
for sure.
Yeah.
But is that the origins of why you eat bugs? Or
the bugs is an environmental thing. Yeah. Recently, there has been sort of right-wing thing where they've been eat it. You will eat the bugs. You will live in the pod as being this sort of neoliberal cuck thing of being where it's you'll be happy with nothing.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I mean, it's I see what they're saying, but I do enjoy eating bugs. I think they taste good. They're much better for the environment than other sources of meat because it's
That's
But they're packed with protein.
They're packed with protein.
Yes.
Yeah, because
What is your favorite
they're
bug?
cold-blooded. I really like crickets and mealworms.
Oh my
Right.
God.
I've heard good things about crickets.
Grasshoppers are great too. They're similar to.
Similar, right?
Yeah.
When I went to I don't know if this exists, but there was the Liberty Science Center. Is that still around?
I'm not sure.
Oh my God. I went on a trip to the Liberty Science Center in Girl Scouts, and they gave us a fucking cricket lollipop, and the shit was delicious.
Yeah, hell yeah.
So a lollipop though implies licking. So you're just sucking a cricket for like 25 minutes.
It's like a cricket encased in a lollipop.
And a scorpion. One
Yes,
of those.
yes,
Yeah.
Oh, scorpions, are
And
they
then-
good?
That was hard to tell because it was so lollipopped up.
Yeah.
It was like
Yeah.
definitely like more like a crunchy lollipop.
Yeah. How do you usually prepare the bugs you eat?
You buy them pre-cooked and pre-seasoned. You don't,
Okay, so you're like eating them like snacks, like chips. pretty
yes,
much.
yeah. You got like salt and vinegar or like.
You ain't bring none for nobody?
What's that?
Did you bring some?
No.
You ain't bring none?
Oh, are they expensive because they're
They
not
are kind of expensive
because they're not really put into mass production quite
Exactly. So like part of the idea with the current thing is like to try to increase the economy as a scale.
Yeah.
At the same time, though, once again, anti-capitalist. It's like I'm not trying to be like
The Frito-Lays of bugs.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, it's like if there was a worker co-op that made bugs, that'd be sick as fuck.
Yeah.
But I don't know of any off the top of my head.
You
Right.
can just go to Straight Male Comics house and
Let's go to my house.
just
Go
fucking
underneath
clean
the
up.
mattress.
Yeah, just go in and you get some mad
Harvest,
cockroaches and shit.
harvest some bed bugs.
That's right. I'm telling you. What are you spending money on this shit? Go get you some Goya. that's dope.
I mean, they eat bugs in other places of the world pretty
Everywhere.
commonly, you know?
Everywhere except for-
Literally
yeah.
everywhere except
sure.
for this brand new system that is destroying the planet.
Right.
Yeah.
We all ate bugs. It was fine.
No.
Even as kids, we ate bugs all the time. I ate
I
bugs.
smoked
Yeah.
bugs when I
What,
was a
really?
kid.
Nigga, what?
Yeah, this is an accident. I talk about this on stage a little bit, but do you want the story?
Yeah.
Okay, so when I was like 6 years old, I was in India, and I'm like watching all my uncles sit around in a circle, and they're all smoking cigarettes. I'm like, yo, these motherfuckers are fucking cool as hell. I was like, I want to be just like them. I was like, I'm gonna fucking smoke too. And by the way, that's the same reason I had a mustache for a few years. I was like, these are the dudes.
Hell
You know
yeah.
what I mean? I was like, these are the motherfuckers right here. So I come back to Pennsylvania, where I'm from, right? Come back from India, come back to the States. And I go up into the woods like, a little brown Huck Finn that I am. And I'm just trying to like smoke things because I'm too dumb to fully comprehend the concept of smoking, right? So I'm picking up like sticks and stuff, and I'm like, oh, it's not giving any smoke. This is a wash, and I'm picking up. And then I remember at one point I pick up a thing, and I'm like, wow, this is giving good smoke. It's like, this is giving good
wow.
smoke. I'm like, look at me, I'm a sophisticated lady over here smoking. I'm like, give me my mustache, I'm ready, And I'm sitting there smoking. Then all of a sudden I'm like, there's something in there. I'm like, what the fuck's going on? And it would have been a reed, and it was filled with bugs. And I had been smoking the ants like fucking little Ozzy Osbourne or something, right?
amazing. That rules.
And it's like, so not only was I sucking the bugs into my 6-year-old face, I had been chasing them in with fire.
Oh my God.
You know what I mean? It was like some advanced guerrilla technology
So funny.
for consuming
That's
bugs.
awesome.
So funny.
And thus, that's how I ended up in rehab. Yeah, for smoking bugs. I've been freebasing spiders.
That was the 9/11 for whatever bugs that was.
That was.
They,
It truly
they talk about that every year.
They commemorate it. They're like, never again.
Never.
Never forget.
Never forget.
Every night they send a squadron of spiders into my ear and into my mouth.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
So I smoke bugs, yeah.
That's great.
That's all packed into a joke about how my handwriting's bad. And yeah.
Oh, you already talked about that on stage. I was gonna say you better. That's
Yeah,
like a funny
a
bit.
little bit, but I don't usually go into that detail. But the whole joke is about how my handwriting's really bad and how people are like, geniuses have bad handwriting, and I'm like, I've smoked bugs.
Yeah, it's okay.
Yeah, and then when you read my handwriting, you'll be like, yeah, this guy's definitely smoked some bugs. All right, this guy's a bughead for sure, right? So that's like the bit, but it's a tough bit because it's like a little longer. And,
Yes. Yeah.
whatever.
No one gives you enough stage
it's-
time for that bit. It's good though.
I only get 30-second
exactly.
spots. So I'm
Shit,
like-
bitch. Me too.
But I am we have all eaten bugs. So like when I was a kid in India, we used to see these gigantic ants, like Jurassic Park sized ants, and I would just be like, looks like grapes to me.
Yes.
Look like some grapes on the march to me,
Yes.
and I would eat them, and they were sweet.
Yes.
Yeah, hell yeah.
That's your instinct. instinct. That's your like human instinct.
That's my primate
Yes,
instinct.
that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know?
It's supposed to pick them off of other people.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
It's like how people eat sushi off of naked ladies.
That's what we're trying to get back to whenever they do that.
Giant.
Pubic lice.
That's funny.
Don't mind if I do.
That's literally what we should be doing is just like picking bugs off of each other and sitting in the sunlight and like eating.
No, we
like,
should also get like cholera too.
I
You know?
mean,
and like
shit.
bubonic plague.
I mean, shit. You know, I'm sure somebody has cholera right now. A lot of people don't use washcloths, so like I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, is that a part of? Are you implying that only white people get cholera?
Yes, I know.
Okay, we've already been through this right now, racializing, disorders and so on.
That's so funny.
That was the implication there,
That's
because
true,
apparently
that's
white
true.
people don't use
What
washcloths.
are we doing on time? How are we doing on time?
Sam, how are we doing on time?
46.
Okay,
shit.
we want to get to Benny's problematic
Yes,
fave. Do you have a
yes.
problematic fave for us, Benny?
It's been a while thinking about it. I was like, I thought it was like maybe the Cookie Crisp Wolf or something. I don't know what the fuck.
Cookie Crisp Wolf.
I was
He
like,
actually raped a few people. People don't know how the Cookie Crisp Wolf is actually extremely
I
problematic.
guess the trouble is like trying to pick somebody and then being like, what element am I justifying? You know what I mean?
Right,
What's the thing?
right.
I guess okay. The thought I did have is like when somebody's dead, I don't mind supporting their work because they're not getting the money.
Yeah.
The thought, XXX Tentacion. It's
Yeah.
like he's not getting the money.
That's true.
I'm fine listening to his music now. Like,
yeah,
if he was still alive and like I was supporting him financially, then
Yeah.
it's like, all right, well,
Okay.
you know what I mean. But you can listen to Michael Jackson or whatever.
That's
But maybe I don't know. It's like it's going to his estate, but I mean, it's like
It sounds like he had like a trust for other pedophiles, though, where the money's all going
It's not like
into,
the money's
right?
going. Yeah,
You
it's
know.
like R. Kelly, for example. He's still alive,
Yeah.
and you listen to his music, and it like does go to financially supporting his.
That goes into his
legal efforts,
commissary.
et
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
cetera.
going into his
Okay.
commissary.
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
getting Cheetos and
He's
stuff
getting
based off of that
ramen,
money.
ramen off of every
Yeah.
Spotify play. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So we don't really need to justify it. Like that's the thing is that it's
Yeah.
problematic. It's your fave, but it's also problematic, and it's like having the self-awareness to call out your own, problematic the things that you enjoy, but being able to think critically about them.
Oh, totally.
Yeah. So like, and that's the extension that that little nigga. That's a good one because he's.
Are you a
bad.
big fan of Triple Extentation?
I'm a medium fan. I'll
Medium
listen
fan.
once in a while.
Yeah.
I like it hits a cool part of the brain, but I'm definitely not listening to like it regularly.
It's like pretty dark, is the thing. Like
Yeah.
this
Yeah,
stuff
are you
is very dark. And
It's
chaotic.
it's like oh, I remember being fucking 19 or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like being sad in math class or something. That's kind of like how it hits to me.
Yeah.
But also, actually, I wanted to talk about the idea of woke.
Yes.
I was-
Let's
I
do
thought
it. Let's talk about it.
There's a cool YouTube channel called Big Joel.
I
and it's-
love Big Joel.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh, awesome.
I haven't seen this video though. But
Okay, so he's got his like side channel called Little Joel where he does like short videos. Check that out.
Okay.
But hell yeah, he slaps. And he was like, he gave this idea about woke being like the definition that the right often gives is about like realizing like the power structures and all that, et cetera, which I think is true to some degree. But the definition that he gave and like the way, and he's like the way it's used actually currently in the culture is just any liberal opinion.
Yeah.
And one of the examples he gave was climate change.
Yep.
He's like people say that like believing in climate change is like woke.
Yeah.
He's like, well, that's not like an identity politics or oppressive structure type idea. That's like, do you believe in science? Do you have this generic liberal opinion? And so the idea of being woke is just like, do you fall into a subset of like liberal opinions these days?
Yeah.
One more example he gave was, do you believe that trans women are women? And it's like that is an identity thing, but like outside of oppressive structure, like trans women are oppressed, but like whether or not you believe that fact isn't necessarily based on the oppressive structure system. Anyway, it's kind of interesting.
Okay, I'm definitely gonna check out Little Joel. I mean,
Check
he
out
does
Little
not
Joel,
need
yeah.
us to plug him. He's super famous.
I know.
But-
Yeah.
But wait, I'm glad you brought that up because that actually it gives me an opportunity to sort of like quickly correct the record. Our first episode, I did try to define woke, and I was like, oh, it came about. It actually came about in the like early 30s with Lead Belly, right? And he, I guess a few young black boys had just been murdered, like because they like whistled at a white women, or all.
Was it? I thought it wasn't Emmett Till.
It wasn't Emmett Till.
It was another like related
it was
incident.
It was
or, like,
two.
similar
Yeah,
case.
it was way before that.
Right.
It was way before that. Yeah. And so like it was like 30 years before Emmett Till. And they've been, America's pastime.
I know.
And so they had killed two young black boys in South Carolina, and so he had a song that was basically like "Stay woke" if you're in South Carolina, and which was basically a sort of like somewhat covert signal to other black people
Stay
that,
alert.
like, stay alert, keep your eyes open. And then of course that evolved because of course it has inherent political leading, so that it'll of course evolve into things, and that's where it started. And I did not say that on the first episode.
It's okay
because
you're
I don't
not
be
a
reading.
historian.
You know
How many episodes in are we? How soon?
This is what, 6?
How many episodes
seven?
is this now?
Oh, so you're still
Seven.
towards the.
Yeah, we're still pretty new, but you know what?
Yeah.
I don't think the definitions that you gave on our first episode were wrong either.
No, yeah.
Right? Because
It's
it's obviously an evolving term.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
It starts with Lead Belly, but then by the time it gets to like, I don't know, whatever, Lockheed Martin or
Yes,
whatever.
exactly.
Right? It's a
Yes.
it's a game of, it's like a game of telephone.
Yes,
Language is, always
exactly.
is, and
Yeah.
how it's transmitted. So don't be too hard on yourself about
Thank
that.
you.
Yeah, who's the fucking historian who's coming on and be like, actually.
Listen, I promise you, if anyone ever watches or listens to the podcast again, there's somebody's gonna be like, actually, bitch.
You're right. There are some Redditor ass type people.
Oh
who
my
are
God,
always
the
in there.
hate that I got for.
Oh, listen, you've been getting a lot of hate
I'm
off of
getting
our last
so
video.
much hate. They're like,
and
this
keep it
talent
coming,
is
guys.
Dirty black hoe. No, keep it coming. It's good for the algorithm.
Yeah, keep it coming.
Yeah,
we love it.
people get into arguments in my clips sometimes, and I'm like, yes, fucking fight.
That's right.
Yeah,
That's
please.
right.
Fight, my little bugs, fight. In the end, Benny's going to be eating you all.
That's so funny. Yeah, no, fight under both of our clips. I've seen you on the internet, so it's so sad.
Cool,
Goes deeply into how much I don't research, because Pranav has planned you for this episode for a long time, but I don't listen to the things that he says. And it did not bother to
Which is
Google
probably-
you,
that's
but
like
I have seen you a lot.
I
definitely
don't
a
watch the
mental health
podcast, so
Okay, good.
Yeah.
See, there you
look
go.
into it, yeah.
Comedians not supporting other comedians. That's good. Yeah. Okay.
It's good to ignore me
It's good to ignore you. Yeah. I know.
from time to time.
The sound of men's voices is so shrill, So.
That's right.
Anyway,
These headphones are actually noise canceling, so you can't hear.
I get earbuds underneath them.
These are good mic stand things.
They are, but they also
yeah.
obstruct my face sometimes. So like they're a little tricky. We've been thinking about getting new ones, but who has the
Get a
money
lapel.
for that?
Exactly.
Yeah,
Right?
I like having the mic here because I
Don't
like
actually
leaning
lapel,
in.
yeah.
It makes me feel purposeful then in a weird way.
I want to try holding it, but he says no. He doesn't.
I
like
used to
it.
hold for my other podcast. I used to
Yeah.
hold for a while. And I don't like that.
I like it. Makes me feel like Whitney Houston.
It makes me feel like Bobby Brown.
Right. It makes me feel like Bobby McFerrin.
I think people get tired after a while. It's like you know what I
Yeah,
mean,
maybe.
especially if it's heavy.
Maybe.
I also do a podcast. Shout out my podcast.
Oh, my bad, yeah.
Benny Feldman's podcast.
Yeah.
Is that what it's
Anyway,
called?
whatever. That's what it's called. I fucking yeah. But initially, I was having people hold it, and like I would get fucking tired after a while.
Yeah.
So I got some cheap ones of these.
Yeah.
Or whatever. Yeah.
What's your podcast about?
Nothing.
Perfect.
It's
The
a Seinfeld podcast.
Yeah. Just shooting the
Bitch.
shit. Yeah.
Bitch.
Look at you with your straight
Bitch.
culture
I know,
references,
but,
huh?
like, bitch, that was a cute moment.
Wow,
we
it
really
was.
are the city girls. City girls of 10.
Okay.
We really are.
City boys up, all the
core-
way up.
core
Hoodville,
premise is
shouts to Hoodville.
Oh yeah. The core premise is about monetizing my audience.
That's right.
Podcast
That's
about
right.
you giving me money.
That's right. Road work. Yeah. Okay. That's dope. Is it just you, or is it
I
Benny
have
Feldman?
I have a guest each time.
Oh, you have a guest each
We'll have
time.
you guys on at some point.
I would love to. Love to do
Ooh,
it.
yes.
Be a good
If
time.
you don't,
Podcast.
you're racist, and that's
We do a swap cast.
Yeah.
I'll just post this as mine.
that's right.
Co-pod it. Have it be a co-pod.
That would be great.
That'd actually be kind of interesting.
I've always wanted to host the Benny Feldman podcast. It's always been my dream.
Listen, guys, I'm Benny Feldman. Thank you for tuning in.
Thank you.
We are Benny Feldman.
We are all Benny Feldman.
Sam is Benny Feldman too. Any last words about the
anything to
things
plug?
that we
Any
talked
last
about?
words?
I'm Feldfrog on everything.
Yeah.
It's like my last name, but frog instead of man.
Nice.
Work.
Yeah.
Nice.
Work.
Is that a pun because you eat the bugs?
No.
Okay, but I just put you onto another
That's
level
funny. Yeah, I didn't
of
think of
that game.
Yeah. That's funny.
Okay. That would be a cute cartoon.
Was it?
It'd be a cute cartoon.
Oh yeah, yeah.
as
No,
a frog.
I have drawings of like
Of you as a frog?
I was like pretending to be a frog on Twitter for like a year. So some people were like drawing it and stuff.
Okay, I've become
It's actually,
fascinated.
I have a tattoo of it. It's a frog.
Nice.
It's not supposed to be me. It's supposed to just be a frog. But
I've been fascinated by frogs lately. It's been a
Oh, yeah?
weird recent fascination. I don't know. It's like the kind of thing where I just saw a picture, like a close-up, high-def picture of a frog, and I was like, "This is insanely beautiful
They're
and
so cute.
almost divine."
Yeah, they're great.
You
Yeah,
know, and like they're really special creatures.
I'm gonna send you some TikToks.
Of frogs,
Yeah.
and I joined like a couple frog Instagram accounts. Then ever since then, so I could get like frog content.
Nice.
And then I met with I ran into a friend of mine at a rave a couple weeks ago, and she told me that she just did bufo, which is like the psychedelic toad venom.
Oh hell yeah.
That it dries out, and so she smoked it, and she said that she had like a really intense ego death experience. Shouts to Vanessa, she's actually my neighbor. She told me she smoked bufo, and I was like, wow, these are truly magical creatures that I
Yeah.
want to learn
What's
more
the
about.
thing? The frog thing with the burning frog thing. You get 3 dots burned into your arm with the frog poison. Fuck, what's it called? I don't know. Shit. All right, I'll
Is
look
that
it up.
also a psychedelic thing?
Yes, it's a psychedelic thing. It's almost like I didn't do it because I'm a pussy, but a bunch of people did it when I was in Thailand. A bunch of people did it, and they said it was like a really incredible experience.
It might be bufo.
No, this one you burn. You don't smoke it. You burn it into your skin.
That's an insane way of
Yeah.
Oh
ingesting.
wow.
yeah,
you know?
That's
yeah.
cool. Hell yeah.
But I know people who did it. Anyway.
That's awesome.
Anyway.
That is awesome.
Yeah,
That
yeah.
fucking kicks ass.
Yeah, we should do it on the pod.
we should do a bufo episode.
Just be screaming and Sam just turning down the mic. Okay, all right, let's end this. This has been happening for so long.
This has been super fun.
This has been so dope. We love
Benny,
you.
thank you so much for
Yeah.
coming
Yeah.
on.
Yeah.
You can find him at Feldfrog, Feldfrog, on all over the place. Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, whatever.
Rock and roll.
Thank you so much for coming on. This has been the
Thanks
Benny
for having
Feldman podcast. Meet SemiWoke.
Thank you.
Thank you. Stay SemiWoke.
Stay semi-woke.